Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Monday, the 31st of July, 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 opened much higher this morning following Wall Street's strong weekend, then tumbled before recouping some of the losses to finish not much higher than where it began at 7,410 points. With the June half earnings season set to kick off next week and a decision on interest rates from the Reserve Bank today, the market was pretty much in a holding pattern. The healthcare stocks did best in general, and the consumer staples sector did worst. Now, both of those sectors are defensive sectors, and the fact that one was best and the other was worst suggests there wasn't a lot of direction today. Among the large caps, the banks were flat or a bit higher. Same deal for the big 3 iron ore miners. Woolworths was the worst performer of the large caps, dropping 1.3%, while Coles was down nearly 1%. Ramsay Health Care had a good day, jumping more than 2%, while health leader CSL was up 0.7%. The tech stocks were mixed, and Telstra finished down 0.5%. Of note, Silver Lake Resources share price tumbled 20%, even though it posted record quarterly production of gold and copper. It was the worst performing ASX 200 stock on the day. Best was Illumina. It was up nearly 3%, which actually isn't very much for the best performing ASX 200 stock. Story number 2, the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the whole nation is thinking of the families of the 4 servicemen who are presumed dead after a helicopter crash late Friday night. Albanese said the 4 dedicated their lives to keeping us safe, and he sent the nation's deepest sympathies. Opposition leader Peter Dutton called it a tragic day for our nation. Defence Minister Richard Marles said the search and rescue mission had become a recovery operation to retrieve the bodies of the aircrew whose MRH-90 Taipan helicopter crashed off the Queensland coast. A portion of the wreckage has been recovered, but the majority of it remains underwater. Story number 3, American intelligence analysts will be embedded within the Defence Spy Agency in Canberra, and northern bases expanded to accommodate US aircraft following high-level talks between Australia and America. The AUSMIN defence and diplomatic talks also produced agreements for a fresh expansion of the deployment of US forces to include amphibious troops and maritime reconnaissance planes, and the fast-tracking of domestic missile production, ensuring Australia becomes a secondary supplier to the US. The US will also start storing military material in Victoria as a forerunner to establishing a larger depot in Queensland. The annual talks involved Foreign Minister Penny Wong, Defence Minister Richard Marles, and their US counterparts, Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Secretary of Defence Lloyd Austin. Story number 4, Origin Energy today said revenue fell during the June quarter thanks to falling prices, adding that it's getting much higher gas prices offshore than locally, reflecting government-enforced caps. A jump in East Coast gas prices helped offset the impact of declining LNG prices, the group said. Origin is the subject of a near $19 billion bid from 2 North American companies, and it said the average price paid by domestic gas customers is still less than half the rate paid in export markets. Production at its Australia Pacific LNG venture in Queensland rose 10% in June compared to the March quarter. For the full financial year, sales were up 21%, even though output was down 3%. And finally, story number 5, Lynas Rare Earths will withhold a portion of supply from the market as prices tumble for the minerals which are used in wind turbines, electronics and military applications. The world's biggest supplier of rare earths outside of China said the lower prices reflected weaker demand from Japan and an oversupply in China. Lynas said its stockpiling was also insurance against potential teething problems next year when it starts refining in Kalgoorlie in Western Australia. That plan in Kalgoorlie is in response to regulatory changes in Malaysia, changes which has forced Lynas to rethink its whole processing program. Its share price rose 2.6% today. That's it for the afternoon report for Monday, the 31st of July, 2023. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.